We had a guy stop by the other day. He's a manager of one of the major restaurants here in town. And we're standing there, and I had walked in and didn't look like, a pastor. I didn't have a, suit or anything on. And he stopped and he said, I've met everybody else, but there's something about you. He said, you're the head guy. And I thought, okay, that could be good or bad. This could be a bill collector. So I'm like, and you are who? He said, well, I'm a manager of such and such. He said, I'd like to see your building. And so we got done. He said, this is beautiful. He goes, man, why don't people know about this place? And I'm like, yeah, right. Why don't they know about this? Because we got to start talking. So he said to me a question, and I want to say this. He said, what separates this from other churches? What makes this place unique? He goes, obviously I've been to other beautiful churches. What makes this church unique? And I want to say, don't insult me. I got a foxy wife. I got an anointed wife. Nobody else does. So, that's number one. But the second thing is, I said, no, I believe it. I honestly believe it. God knows I don't lie behind this. I believe it. I totally believe it. Like Trump would say, I totally believe it. It's totally true. So, anyway, totally huge. I know you don't like the fact that I did his voice, but I don't care. Okay. I'm not one of these prophetic voices that prophesies along party lines. Even though some of you tried to say I prophesied a red wave, never did. Not going to do it. And so, Elijah didn't prophesy along party lines. He prophesied to those that were stuck in a Babylonian way, and he also prophesied to the king, but at the same time, he knew he had authority that was greater than the political, and that when they realized that he had the power to shut something off and turn something on, they came to him. And so that's why I don't have to lower myself to party lines. There's something in my mouth that has the ability to unlock something over this nation and to close it up. So I don't have to explain myself. So don't write about me nasty. Somebody said the other day, hey, excited about going on? Every time I go on these programs, I dread it sometimes. I don't dread them. I love God, and I love to communicate His heart, but I know that people, they can't even hear what I said, because a certain time I say Trump, they're going to turn off the TV and think I'm being, Republican, or they comment on your watch or your sideburns, and they don't listen. Let me tell you something, because I'm getting ready to say something. I feel the inspiration of God. I'm very concerned about something. If you play that kind of game, because I sense there's some people in the media, you're watching me right now. Listen to me. If you continue to add to this divisiveness that's taking place, and some of you Christians that are getting on social media and you write nasty stuff, and you are divisive in what you write and what you say, that divides this nation and divides the body of Christ. I'm talking to you Christians. There was something that happened in 1999, and God gave me a warning to the body of Christ then. It was called Y2K, and He said, tell the people that Y2K will not be as they say. Warn the church and tell them that the spirit of fear is trying to cross the new millennial line ahead of the church. And I warned, and people said I was crazy. Pastors called me and said, well, we're surely not going to loan food to you. That's how cruel it was. And yet Y2K was just as God said. But the problem was the fear on the people released something a year later, 9/11. And 9/11, unfortunately, God had to, while we were all in fear, He had to wait and say, until you trust me, folks, I have to take my hand off of a certain expression of this nation. And we got hit. We were vulnerable. And it took terrorism and a terrorist act to unite this nation again and to bring the Democrat and the Republican, unfortunately, together. And I'm telling you, I saw 90 days of summer. I saw something over this year that is a bullseye that the enemy is wanting to hit this nation. And I'm telling you, there is an open door, and it's the divisiveness of people like you that are creating stuff. And if we're not careful, God may have to withhold His hand. And God forbid that there is a strike on our nation again that has to be what brings healing to this nation while we're mourning.